Alright, hello and welcome to December. We're finally here. I've caught up. As you can see, I'm wearing one of my Christmas sweaters. The beginning of December, I ended up going to Thailand. So like I mentioned that in my last blog at the end of it. So I will start there for you guys. I said I would explain it, so I will do that now. So on the 30th of November, the very last day, right after work, we flew out of Guangzhou to go to Thailand. It was really nice actually leaving China for once. It's been a little while since I actually managed to leave the country, and I needed to get out of China. It was definitely worth it, any amount of money at this point. I had gone to Bali back in July, which I have told you guys about. So I was there for 5 days, but other than that, I had attempted to leave the country a couple times and managed to get sick every other time for every holiday. So this was the first time since Bali that I had gotten to leave China, and that is one of the only times I have left China in a year. So within a year, I've left China for a total of now 8 days. Definitely needed those last 3. And I'm looking forward to February so that I can leave China again without, actually leave China. Knock on wood. So, Thailand. We left Guangzhou late at night on the 30th, and we had a connecting flight in Bangkok. So now, I'm pretty sure most of you probably don't know who Walt is. I don't know if anybody watching this will actually know who he is. But if you know him, you will know that he is... I don't want to say a pessimistic person, but he's extreme realist. He will think of absolutely everything that could go wrong in a situation and then worry about it. He is an extreme worrier and very stubborn. I will never have to worry again for the rest of my life as long as I'm dating him. He worries enough for the both of us. So when we left Guangzhou, the ticket lady, she gave us just a pass, or our boarding pass, for Guangzhou to Bangkok. And in Bangkok, we had to get off the plane, we had to go through customs, and then we could get another boarding ticket to go to Phuket. When we landed, we only had about 3 hours transfer between Guangzhou and Phuket in Bangkok. Unfortunately, there was a massive line to get the tickets. So Walt was a little worried. We're standing in line, not sure what to do. Step out of line, go find some people to ask them, because if we stood in line, we were not going to make our connecting flight. They sent us to these ticket booths where you scan your number, or you enter in your booking number, and then it'll just print out your tickets for you, which would have been great. However, we came from Guangzhou, so we are an international flight. This only works for domestic flights, so people who've booked flights specifically from Bangkok to Phuket. Ours was booked from Guangzhou to Phuket. It wasn't going to work. So we had to go stand back in this giant line. Walt's freaking out. We're not going to make our flight. We're going to be stuck in Bangkok. I don't know what we're going to do. We've missed our whole holiday. Like I said, I will never have to worry again. So I went out of line. I told him to wait there just in case. I went and found somebody else who was not overly busy. It turns out pretty much everyone who was on our flight was in that line. They were stuck in that line with all these other people. And we would all missed our flight together. So the woman I found, she told me to stay where I was, that she was going to open another line for us. She sent some trainees in to go find everybody else on my flight in the line. And I ended up at the front of the line for the people of my flight, and actually had them open another window for us so that we could get through so we wouldn't miss the plane. So that was kind of cool. So I knew it would work out, and it did. It managed to work out. We left Bangkok, and we arrived at Phuket around 7 o'clock in the morning. It is absolutely beautiful where we were. We ended up going to our hotel. It was called the Silver Resortal, kind of like a mix between a resort and a hostel. Tiny little room, nothing overly spectacular, but the location, absolutely amazing. I would definitely go there again. Highly recommend it, especially if you don't care kind of where you sleep. You're just looking for something that's, it'll work. It wasn't overly dirty or anything. It was It was quite nice, just nothing special. But it was a 2-minute walk from the beach, and it was about a 10-minute walk from the Bengal walking street, which is a very famous street in Thailand. So if you really like to party, it's 10 minutes away. If you like to go to the beach, it's 2 minutes away. Perfect location. So we had to wait for our room to get ready when we arrived there. So we ended up going to the beach with all of our stuff. We were still in all of our airport clothes as well, so jeans, sweaters, not exactly clothing for Thailand. Hadn't eaten all day yet, or I guess for the last little while, day or night. So for breakfast, we ended up getting some street food. We found some great barbecue chicken. They take chicken legs, and then they take a long stick of bamboo, and they split it down the middle, and then they use it as like a tong, and that's what they barbecue the chicken on, and then they give you the tong with the chicken so that you can eat that later. Some of the best barbecue chicken I've ever had. If I could have lived off of that chicken, I would have, but I wanted to try some other things while I was there. Really good. We also had some awesome mango smoothie, fresh mangoes, some ice, and like agave syrup, like water, so just like sweet, naturally sweet water. I think that was everything that was in there, so really good, especially if you like mango. You can't go wrong with a fresh mango smoothie. Like I said, we took our food, hung out on the beach, but we were still in our jeans and things. You needed to change into something a little more appropriate for Thailand weather. So we headed back to the hotel. Our room ended up being ready, so we changed into our suits and headed back to the beach, where we went swimming in the ocean. Wonderful. I absolutely love it. I think I was born to live on a beach, and I already miss the ocean. Definitely needed it. Apparently it was the first time Walt had been in the ocean in like 2 years, so it was definitely long overdue for him. We spent about 3 hours down there. On the way back to the hotel, we decided that we should get something to eat, so we stopped into a little restaurant down in the corners on the way back to the hotel and tried some pad thai. So in North America, a lot of times that you get pad thai, it turns out to be really spicy. This is not the case. We tried pad thai a couple times in Thailand, and at least the area we were in, not spicy at all. We had a peanut one. When you order just plain pad thai, it comes with the peanut sauce, and it wasn't very spicy. And then the second time we tried it, again, peanuts and not very spicy at all. So this extreme heat, you either have to ask for it when you're in Thailand, or it's from a different part of Thailand, or it was something that North Americans decided Thai people really like. So after pad thai, it was really good. We went shopping, so we went to some of the different little booths you could go buy little trinkets and souvenirs at. Go haggle. Like every other beach Asian country out there, like Mexico, Bali, same kind of shopping experience. And then we headed back to our hotel, where we ended up having a nap. This was probably the first time I've had a nap since I was like 4, but we had been up for about 46 hours at this point, with maybe 3 hours of sleep off and on a plane. So the our nap was definitely needed. It was definitely called for. But it not something I'm used to doing. When we woke up, we ended up going back out, had some gelato, and then we went for a long walk on the beach. On the beach, we found this awesome restaurant where we managed to get some barbecue fish, like a giant fish barbecued. It came with some different sauces that you could use and some lime that you could sprinkle on. The orange, sweet, and hot sauce that you get in a lot of different Thai restaurants back home, that is actually what they serve with pretty much everything there. Really good. The other sauce that they gave us, it was fire. I don't know what it was. That's where the spice is. And I could not taste anything for the next 10 minutes. It was absolutely terrible. no flavor. It was just hot. So I don't know if I'd ever do that again. But we also tried some satay, and we tried some egg rolls, some local beers. It was really good. We ate way too much food, though. And then we went for a really long walk down the walking street, this Bangor walking street. I will put a link up on my blog for you guys about this street, for you, those of you who don't know anything about it. But down this street, there is about 50 or so bars, along with like 25 or so strip clubs. And then you're bombarded by at least 50 people asking you if you want to go see a ping pong show. A ping pong show is where the Thai girls would take ping pong balls and stick it up their nether regions and then shoot it across the stage towards targets. This is apparently something that happens a lot in Thailand. It's like a Thai show. I could not, for the life of me, get Walt to go see one, though. I don't think I will ever get Walt to go see one of those shows, nor can I get him to go to one of the strip clubs. He has this thing that if he sees it, just kind of, on the street and walks by it, it's okay. If you pay for it or, pay to see it or participate, then your morals are on the line. Like, it's questionable. So we did not go to see a show. We did not go to a strip club. If I wanted to do that, I had to do it on my own. So we ended up at a bar just to have a couple of the other local beers to try them out and just watch everybody. And I have to say, it was really interesting. A huge different mix. So it felt very much like Phuket is the Cancun of Thailand. It is where everybody goes to party. It would be absolutely crazy for spring break. I don't want to even imagine what it would be like, and I did not go there for spring break. That would be ridiculous. But lots of bars, lots of strip clubs, like I said, the ping pong shows, just craziness on one hand. On the other hand, we're sitting at this bar and we're watching everybody walk by, and the amount of families was just crazy. I've never seen so many kids, and the kids had these looks on their faces like they had no idea what was going on. They just couldn't comprehend it. There's a lot of other places in Thailand, and to me, Phuket does not say family friendly. At least not that area of Phuket. Like, where we were, it was beautiful. It was a really nice bay. It had great beaches, but there are a lot of other great beaches in Phuket. I would not recommend that particular area for if you have children. And if you have children and you're going to go there, maybe you don't take them down this walking street late at night when everything's open. If you want to see it, go during the day, or, have one of your friends stay back with the kids one day, or, go with one of your older kids so that they can take care of the younger kids at the hotel while you go out and party that night. Like, I don't know, it just seems really odd to take your children down this street. I mean, talk about introducing them to life at a very young age. Very odd, something that both Walt and I commented on about how we would never in a million years do that if we had children. Like, that's ridiculous. But it was interesting. And then we headed back to the hotel. The next day, I like to do things that are culturally, unique to that area, different things, but I don't want to just lay on a beach all weekend. As much as that, is very nice and relaxing, I want to experience the culture. I want to experience where I am. This is something that I had to push Walt to do. Apparently, he would have just laid on the beach the entire time. Before we left, I had managed to find a company where you could go ziplining through the jungle. I thought that would have been really cool, but I also thought you can zipline through any jungle in any different country. So it's not exactly unique to Thailand. So instead, we found an elephant trek the day before. So on the 2nd of December, we woke up early and we went on an elephant trek for about 30 minutes. I I will say, very cool experience. Very neat being on an elephant. There are some pictures on my blog for you guys. I would recommend, though, if I ever go back to Thailand, or if you guys go to Thailand, if you want to ride an elephant and you want to see them, I highly recommend it, but I definitely recommend going to a sanctuary or a reserve of some kind to do this. So it was kind of a sad, almost depressing 30 minutes, because you knew that the elephants weren't necessarily being treated properly, and it wasn't even necessarily the people. It was just they don't have a lot of money to take care of them, especially at the location they're in, and then tourists just come by and they're constantly being used for rides, and it felt kind of bad for the elephants, where I think that you wouldn't have that exact same experience if you went to a reserve or a sanctuary. So I would definitely recommend going to a reserve or sanctuary instead if you want to see elephants in Thailand. Still, it was a very cool experience. After the elephants, we then went to go see the Big Buddha. So this is a new tourist attraction in Thailand. The monks of Thailand got together and they decided to build a place of worship. So they've created this giant Buddha on top of the hill in Phuket. Really cool, really interesting, and it's still in the process of being built. So you can go there and you can buy tiles or bells and things like that and donate money to the monks to help them build their Buddha. So that was really neat to see, and you could see them actually doing some of their worship there. It was really kind of cool to see that. Afterwards, we asked one of the locals to see what their favorite food was so that we could try something different. And they sent us in the direction of what they told us was a food market. It turned out to be a wet market, so just essentially a grocery shop, where there was all these restaurants upstairs. You could buy your food, so different meats and fish and vegetables, and then bring it up to the restaurants and they would cook them for you. That was kind of cool, but for how hungry we were at the time, it was a little bit too much work for what we were looking for. So we went down into the deli area and found some of the already pre-made foods, tried out some of those, and then headed back to actually go just to the beach. So we ended up swimming again for probably a good 2 hours or so. And then we ended up at a different food market. So this was near the walking street, and kind of set up in like a fairground type of way. So something you would find at a fair, a carnival, or like the Stampede, where there's all the different booths selling different foods like barbecue and drinks and vegetables and rice and sautés and things like that. So Walt and I both picked 2 different kinds of food to try. We split them so we could try a whole bunch of different kinds of Thai food. All of it was really good. It was really cool. And it was kind of weird though, because everything was decorated for Christmas. And it was a very odd experience because you don't see that in Guangzhou. In China, they don't really celebrate Christmas. Hong Kong is decorated because there are a lot of foreigners living in Hong Kong, and it still is very reminiscent of the British rule that it was under. Guangzhou does not have that. There's very few Christmas decorations. Some of the larger shops and things like Starbucks will be decorated because that's a foreign thing. Nowhere else has Christmas decorations because they don't celebrate Christmas. So you kind of forget that it's December and that Christmas is only like 20 some days away. But Thailand was decorated. There was a giant Christmas tree in this food market. It was kind of cool. After that, on our way back to the hotel, we decided to do a little bit more shopping, just pick up a couple of little trinkets here or there, and then ended up back at the hotel really early. I felt like such an old person, but granted, we had very little sleep the night before, and did a lot for the day. But I still felt really kind of sad going to bed so early in Thailand. We only have so many days there. But that's how it goes, I guess. The next day was sadly our last day in Thailand. So we woke up early. We headed to the beach. where we went for our last swim in the ocean, sadly. We then came back, we changed, packed up, and then had some breakfast down at the hotel next to us. And then we had to head back to the airport. So our flight was at about 4 o'clock that afternoon. We had another connecting flight in Bangkok, and then ended up back at my place in Guangzhou at like midnight. So Walt had to stay the night because there's no way he was getting back to Panyu unless he paid an exorbitant amount of money for a taxi cab. It was really sad to be back and have to go to work that day. I will say everybody at work was really happy to see me, that I actually came back, and that I didn't end up in a hospital at all when I came home. So that was great. It is really cool though to be able to say that, like, oh, I went to Thailand for a weekend. Not something you would get to say normally if you did not live here. The fact that it's so close, and it is so much cheaper to fly there where we are. So that was Thailand. That was the first 3 days of December. Right now it is December 12th. So that brings us to the next weekend, which was just this past weekend for me, the December 9th and 10th. And then we are completely caught up. So December 9th was my dad's birthday. Happy belated birthday. And I went to Hong Kong with Haley, Drew, one of the new Disney people, Josh, and we met up with one of Drew's climbing buddies, Ying, from Hong Kong. And we all went to Disneyland, Hong Kong that day. It rained the entire day, off and on. Slightly depressing weather, but it turned out to be a really good day. And because of the rain, there was absolutely no lines. We didn't have to wait at all, which was great. You know, you go and ride by Space Mountain like 3 times in a row, and you don't have to wait at all in between. So that was really cool. Got my churros. I do like Disneyland in Hong Kong, I have to say. It's a really small park, especially in comparison to every other park out there. Not as many rides. They don't have the Haunted Mansion because Chinese people are very superstitious and ghosts can be very scary to them. So they do not do the Haunted Mansion. Instead, they do Mystic Manor, slightly different. Not quite as good, but it's still entertaining. I will say, though, life is slightly full of disappointments. And there was no salted popcorn in the entirety of the park. Apparently for Christmas they changed their popcorn flavors. You can still get kettle corn, which that's what you can get all over mainland China in every movie theater. But instead of salted popcorn, you could get curry or strawberry flavor, depending on which booth you were at. And much to my dismay, I was very disappointed. So I plan to go back to Hong Kong at the end of the month. Unlike mainland China and like the rest of the world, Hong Kong is releasing Star Wars in December. Mainland China doesn't release it until the end of January. So instead of waiting for a full month, Walt and I are going to end up going to Hong Kong at the end of the month to go see Star Wars. And I'm going to drag him to Disneyland that weekend as well. He has a thing about paying for happiness at theme parks. But it's kind of what I asked for Christmas this year, so he gets to go have fun with me at Disneyland, whether he really wants to or not. I think it'll be a lot of fun still, and I will obviously let you guys know about that when it happens. So right now, like I said, it's December 12th. This means we are completely caught up. You know everything that I have been doing now. I don't think I missed anything out. There are pictures and links and little stories that I may have forgotten up on the blog for you guys. And other than that, I will see you guys later.